Hi everyone, I'm Julia Katsivo and I'm really excited to have you here with me today. We're going to have a fantastic session, January 11th. It's 5:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching this after it has posted. I am really excited about the content that I have here for you today because it will change the way you feel when you get up. It'll change the way you walk into tomorrow. It will change the way you do quite a few things. And what is that content? Well, if you've started your 2018 and it's looking a little bit slow, so you know the way sometimes you like ramp up and you drive through 2017, you're like, this is my year, this is the year of receiving, this is the year of, and you do all that wonderful stuff. And then the first week comes in, it's going to the second week, it is the second week of January, and you look at your results and it's like, I still believe? Well, tons of useful information that will be here today, so stay with me. If you have any questions, ask them. I love questions. And thank you for joining. Yes, I do see my favorite people on board. So this is awesome. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about two things. And I'm just going to grab some things here. Okay, I had a lot of fun preparing this. Two things. We're going to talk about where you're going to find your clients. And then we're going to talk about mindset, because you need to work on the mindset part. It'll always come down to the mindset part. Mindset is 90% of any problem. Would you agree? Would you agree that if you ever face an issue, the moment you make up your mind or the moment new information comes to you that you're able to process in a completely unique and different way that just illuminates paths to you, then everything else is a breeze. So mindset is really important, and the action. Okay, so we're going to first start with the action. So I was working with one of my clients yesterday, and she was like, Julia, nobody's buying from me. Nobody wants to pay me for my services. She's a consultant, and I don't know what to do. She has this amazing service, and she has beautiful packages. She knows what her niche is. She has her packaging right. She has her messaging right. She knows who her target market is. She knows what to do. She goes out there and she speaks with people, and she's still not selling. And she's like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? What is it that I'm doing that is not producing the results that I want? We said, okay, well, now we had previously done some work with her in which we had crunched down the numbers. And for her, and in this example, if she had 60 conversations in a month, if she had 60 conversations a month, she would hit her it was really ambitious goals, but it was something that she could do. It would hit her ambitious goals if she had her 60 conversations. And if you break that down, assuming you have that 31 days a month, so we'll just say it's two calls a day, right? But assuming you're not working on, let's say, 4 of those days, let's say you don't work on Sundays, then you just got to bump up the other calls onto the other days. Say you're not working Friday afternoons, so just doing that math. So for someone like her, it was working out to 20 days. 20 days is really Monday to Friday, any given month. So she had 20 days and 60 calls, right? So you know what that means. If you have your 20 days and your 60 calls, she was to make she was to have 3 conversations a day, 5 days a week. So we looked at her calendar, because I said, okay, pull up your calendar, right? Your calendar is where you're putting in your appointments or where you're putting in your notes, where, if you have a calendar link, it syncs up with whomever you're speaking with and herself. And we did the math, and I didn't even go too far. We just said, let's look at January. Okay, well, January 1st, oh, I wasn't feeling well, so I didn't quite make calls. I get it. It's New Year's Day. I get it. Okay, skip that. No, knock off one day. January 2nd. Oh, yeah, I tried to make the calls, but now I can't remember what happened. Anyhow, we counted the days up until yesterday, and my dear friend here, my dear client, had made 4 calls, four calls. She had 4 conversations on the phone, and the 4 people said no. And so when she came and she was crying, oh, nobody's buying from me, nobody's doing anything from me, at that moment, she was able to see, because we sat down and we said, okay, you've had your 4 conversations. but you're like 16 behind, you know? So what she was doing and going back through history, and I have her amazing permission to share this because we really did tweak and turn some things around here so that she will not see those same results again, is we saw that, how you do anything is how you do everything. So she was showing up at a quarter of her capacity in life. Now the question here is, do you see how this could be you in some instances? Are you showing up at a capacity, a quarter of a capacity? So out of all the things you could do, are you just doing a quarter of it? Are you just doing a quarter of it? And that's really key. So the first thing was that. Now, what it really boils down to, and what I'm getting down to here, is action, baby, action. We're all learned people, or in this internet, the age of technology, we all know how to go and look for information. Gone are the days when we had a few people who held the knowledge, a few people who held the expertise. Gone are those days. We can do just about anything in this world if you have the right attitude, if you have the time, the resources, and if you're willing to really apply yourself to it. All you need is to find it. And if you're really hungry for something, you will go find it. You know this because I know you've done this for yourself in many different ways. How do I get out of this situation? How do I start this? How do I go here? How do I go there, right? And you'll do that. Now, we know how to do these things, and we've done them in many different situations in our lives. I mean, some of us have even planted ourselves from different continents and brought ourselves over to North America and started all over again. But why is it when it comes to your own business, those skill sets just fall by the wayside? That drive, that will, that mental power just takes a hike. That will to succeed, the ability to go out and meet new people just falls apart. Why does that happen? So that we can sit here, and if I tell you today, I will give you the exact numbers you need to hit. And if you do this, and by the way, I work with very conservative numbers because I understand that, a lot of things that I like to show, especially in my workshops, is we have great ambitions, but usually our minds and our bodies are not at the same place, right? And our hearts, everything has to catch up. Sometimes when we make our decisions, we forget that, if you say today, I'm going to quit smoking, your body may be 10 years behind. Your heart may be 5 steps behind. So just because you say something doesn't mean that all other parts of you are at that place, right? And magic happens when all parts of you are at the same place, ready for the same decision. So when we make a decision and the rest of our body parts, our heart, our soul, our mind, whatever the case may be, our body, it's not at that place, then you will not see those results that you're looking for. And you will turn inward and you'll start blaming yourself. You'll be angry and you'll be depressed and you'll say there's something wrong with me when there isn't. To be honest with you, it's always a lack of information. That's what it always boils down to. Information, application. And I'll say that again. It's always information and application. Receive the information, apply it. A lot of people will receive the information, do nothing with it. A lot of people will apply things, they just have the wrong information or no information. They're just doing things. Regardless, both of them, if they're not there together, if they're not working in unison, fail. So my client was like, okay, I see where the problem is. I completely see. And when she looked back, she saw that all the things that stopped her from having those conversations, they appeared so small in face of her results, right? You have 4 conversations. You're not going to hit your mark. I mean, you may, but really that's not the way to go. That's not what to aim at. And then now we have to have that real conversation, which is, you know how to hit your numbers. You know what you're supposed to be doing. Why aren't you doing it? And this is what it came down to. And just for the sake of just today, and just so that I don't stay here for like 10 hours, I love this stuff. I can go on forever with it. I'm just going to tell you about 3 mindset things that I find are really common. They recur, and they're very powerful. They're very powerful in holding people back. And in this case, this was applicable to my client. And in your case, it may be applicable too, or in someone that you observe. So the first thing was the idea of I'm not good enough, which translates into I'm not worth it. So going through a sales conversation is an interesting thing if you're working for a corporation or you're working on behalf of a product or something like that. It's already been created. You're speaking on behalf of a brand. You're invested because you're going to make money off it. But it's not really like an offspring of yours, right? You didn't create the product. You didn't create the service. You're not giving up your expertise in that sense. So a lot of these issues come up for many people who leave the corporate world or leave really successful sales businesses, and they go in to sell for themselves, meaning these are products they've created or these are services they've created. These are things that they have real stake in because it's of their heart. So sales conversations for them are not that thing where it's an exchange of value. For them, this is where all the insecurities come up. So if the underlying feeling is I'm not good enough, which translates into I'm not worth it, we rarely go for things that we don't feel we're worthy of. We don't even try. Why? We don't want to be rejected. The mind frame is I am unworthy. So why would I go for something that I know I am not going to get or receive or have? So I'd rather not put myself through that. So why would someone in that position make a sales call, you see? The second is I don't want to bother people. This one is really common. So when you're thinking I don't want to bother people, that's translated as I don't have value. Because the truth is, if you have something that's really important, you know very well you're knocking down doors to get that information through because this is really important. But if you're in the mind frame of not wanting to bother people, and this is again from that space where you feel that you haven't been validated or what you're doing hasn't been validated, so you don't feel confident presenting it, the reaction around it hasn't been great, and so your memory has just been imprinting just that, those are the kind of images and memories that you're imprinting, and the message to yourself is this is not of value. So if I present something that's not of value, then that means I'm bothering you, right? So when you think I'm bothering you and you're coming with that idea of I don't want to bother you, I don't want to present something to you that will bother you, that has no value, has no meaning, then you can see how such a mind state would ensure that you're not making any sales conversations. Okay, I'm just going to take a time out and say, hi, Wangari. I just see a few other people here. Thank you so much for joining. I love it. We're from Kenya, Canada, the US. Thank you for joining with me. I hope you're seeing value here. If you have any questions at all, please ask them. I'm here. You can ask anything. Okay, so we're looking at some of those mindset things that are really stuck in there when it comes to promoting your baby, your blood, sweat, tears, your passion, your joy, and how these thoughts, these underlying beliefs may prevent you from having sales conversations which leave you in that place where, like I mentioned, the client was like, I don't have any sales, Julia, nobody is buying. What am I doing wrong? And the third one is, this is a big one. I don't want to waste your time. I'll waste your time, which translates into, I don't know what I'm doing. Because the only way that you'll feel like you're a waste of time or that someone is wasting your time is if you don't see any kind of direction with them or with yourself. So for a lot of people, they may feel a little lost. And this is not because they don't know what they're doing or because they don't believe in their products and services. It's because you haven't received validation. You haven't received validation. You haven't received great responses over what you do. And unfortunately, even the little good stuff that you get, you kind of like dismiss that and really focus on, nobody likes what I'm giving, nobody cares for my solutions, nobody sees my picture, all the negativity, and that translates into a bit of I'm lost here, I'm lost, and I'm trying to convince you to like what I have or to accept what I'm offering. And what we have here is that feeling of, I don't want to waste your time, so I won't even bother asking you to get on the phone with me for a sales conversation. And all of this judgment takes place when people meet each other, or when you just making your sales. Then a lot of times what you do when you're speaking with someone, or when you look at them, you instantly decide, this person isn't going to buy from me, this person is not a right fit, I don't know how I'm going to convince this person. All these things come up. And as we mentioned before, they usually come up because it's one thing to sell on behalf of a brand. It's one thing to sell on behalf of a company. I mean, if you saw, like, and I'm coming from, so my first, like for many people, our jobs were sales, right? Like, so I'm talking about, I've done door-to-door sales, I've done third-party, I've done flipping phone book sales, just all manner of sales, warm, cold, brutal guerrilla tactics. I think I lasted like half a day in that atmosphere. Commission-only sales, just all manner of sales. And somehow that was not as intimidating as going out and saying, this is what I've created that I feel is of value to you, and this is what I'm bringing to the table. Will you buy this? Woo! That was a whole different ballgame. And so I get it. When we have people come in and they say, I have a great product, I have a great message, I have great branding, I know my target market, why isn't anyone buying from me? So just to recap, those are the two things. So the first thing was numbers, right? When we looked at the numbers, in my specific example, we had calculated that if my client spoke on the phone, or in this day and age, you can have sales conversations full out over text or messenger. Now, different people and different generations and different types of salespeople will have different thoughts on that. For me, I don't care. As long as you're closing, as long as you're getting what you want, you do you. If you can conduct all your sales conversations via text and that works for you, do it. Because maybe you totally suck on the phone. Maybe you're closing on the text and you're not closing on the phone. So don't feel like you have to be one way or another. Don't feel that you have to go meet people in a coffee shop to close. Don't feel that you have to do anything like that. Like, just do what works for you. So for my client, it was have 60 conversations. And not just conversations that say, hey, how are you doing? But conversations that end up with, I think this would be a right fit for you. What do you think? Let's get started. Let's sign up, right? So she was to have 60 conversations a month. And when we did the math, she was having 4 conversations in 10 days. So she wasn't hitting her numbers because she wasn't taking those calls. So that's the first thing, is please look at your numbers. And, just really quickly, obviously we have different metrics for different industries, different people, but I'll just use this very, very quickly. You want to, they say that out of every 4 conversations, you're going to have 1 sale. For me, I look at 10 conversations. And it's not a matter of blowing your horn and saying, oh, I'm a better salesperson, I can close in 3. Good for you. What I'm looking at is, you just want to really plan for great opportunities. So if you plan that you need to speak with 10 people to make 1 sale, then, it's not giving yourself permission to just slack off and let, 9 people just fall off the door. No, but it's just really allowing you that, really arrange to speak with 10 people to make your 1 sale. I have people who they need to make 3 sales a week so that they can hit their targets. And this would be in the professional organization industry. So for this specific business, they needed to hit, the 3 businesses. Well, just do that math and say that, okay, so I need to speak with about 30 people a week. And, it sounds a lot, but if this is your job, or if you're if you're really determined to do this, then you're going to set that time to sit down and do this. I think, like one of the best ways to get into that discipline of making calls is to work in a call center, especially a part-time call center where you go in from like 5 to 9 p.m. I mean, those people are paying you to take calls or to make calls. And if you really go back and you look at the volume of numbers that you went through and the people that you spoke with, it tells you that you can do it, and you can do this for yourself as well. So say you have 30 calls that you have to make and you don't mind working Monday to Saturday, then, what are you looking at? You're looking at five people to talk to in a day. And one of the things that a lot of people would say to me is, okay, but where am I finding those 5 people? So again, we go back to the mindset stuff where we're immediately coming up with resistance and with barriers. And it's not a bad thing. These are things that have been created to protect us, to keep us safe. But immediately what's coming up is, no, don't go out there. You will be rejected. You will be rejected. You will be hurt. This is not going to look good for you. This won't work out for you. When the truth is, those 5 conversations are going to come out of you going out and extending your net. So that's another thing, and we'll talk about that another day. A lot of people do not have a large network. And when I say large, I'm not talking about 5,000 people on your Facebook. I'm talking about people that you actively speak with on a continual basis. If you make that your business, reaching out to people, just finding out more about them, and not necessarily looking to see where you can sell something, but just really connecting with them, then what you're doing is you're expanding your net. When you expand your net, you realize that there are people who are willing to pay you. There are people who want your services. It's just sometimes we're really focused on a very small target. And I'll tell you what that target is and why we're so focused on it. It's because there are people that we want to sell to. We want to sell to. We know our target market. We know who our products and services are for. But there's some people that we want to sell to because in our minds, you should be getting this. This is perfect for you. I don't understand why you don't see what I see. Like, this was created with you in mind. And I know there are a few people who understand that feeling when you really, really want someone you love and care for to grasp something. You want them to buy this thing because you want it for them. But that person may very well be in that problem area, but that is not that person's pain. And that is not that person's solution. So when we're focusing on the people we want to help, we personally want to help, a lot of times you're focusing on the wrong group of people. And in our minds and in our worlds, it becomes a very small network of people who don't want to buy from you. That's the perception. If I have a product and I have a solution and I'm presenting it to someone that I think should be buying from me and the person is not buying from me, then that must mean that what I'm presenting and what I'm providing is not of value, is a waste of time. And what was the third one? And is not worth it. When that is so not true. Cast a really wide net. Get to know many, many people. So as an example, one of my clients, our goal here was to have 18 conversations. And to have those 18 conversations, we broke it down to 72 just regular Joe convos. Now, the thing is, when I say these numbers, there's some people who say 72 people. That is no way. I'm talking 72 people. I'm single. I'm alone. I talk to 3 people max. And that's because I went into the store and I bought bread and I had to say hi while I paid for it. The second person was the neighbor as I was walking into the house. And the third person was my mother who called me to check on me, right? 3 people. How am I getting 72 people? We talk to a lot of people. We just don't realize it. I mean, really think about this. We're in the age of technology. How many times have you texted today? How many times have you social messaged today? How many times have you used your WhatsApp today? How many times have you done that? Collectively, on any given day, we have a lot of conversations. Now, all I'm asking is if you can be more purposeful about them and maybe triple them. How do you do that? You set aside that time. You may say, okay, I have a 9 to 5, and this is what worked for me when I had a full-time job. Again, it's all about sacrifices, but if you want something, you got to pay the price to get there. So what I would do is I would say, okay, I know myself. Getting up very early in the morning is a no-go. So I have to be up by 7. I'm not getting up any earlier than that. That was before I trained myself to get up really early. I said, okay, but if I'm awake and I've gone to work and I come back, what I will do is I will block off 6 to 9 p.m. As far as anybody's concerned, I'm in my second part-time job. And I knew this could work, having had multiple jobs at the same time. And many of us have done that. We've had full-time jobs and then we've had part-time jobs in the evening. And nobody bothers you. Nobody ever calls you up in the evening and says, oh, you're going to work. Are you kidding me? People leave you alone. They're like, I know you have a part-time job Monday to Friday. So I took that same mentality and I applied it to myself. I said, so between 6 and 9 p.m., we're going to strictly work on this. Now for you, if you know that you have, let's just say 72 regular conversations. Now, this is the thing, even if you outsource your sales to other people, that does not preclude you from talking about your business. It is your business to talk about your business. So say you have your 72 calls a month and you work your 20 days a month, then figure out how many people you need to be speaking with every day. And if you do this and you do this religiously, which means that it doesn't matter if you woke up and you're not in a good mood, then find something else to do. Send an email, for crying out loud. Or if you were stranded because buses and trains, especially the GTA in the evening in the winter, they kind of get stuck and stuff, so you weren't able to hop on the phone, well, that's where text comes in. What I'm saying is do everything in your power to make sure that you at least hit your numbers, because you're going to learn that action is the most powerful thing in your life, second to mindset and willpower. Action will show you things. If you suffer from self-confidence, lack of self-esteem, if you have no answers to questions, start moving. Action will give all that to you. But it's sort of like faith, where you gotta do it first before you see the results. You gotta just go moving. How many times have I woken up where I feel like I can't do this? And then immediately I'll just start working, because you train yourself to just start working. And within 5 minutes, you're like, yeah, this is the greatest job in the world. Like, this is the best place in the world to be. And how many times has that happened for all of us, where you might get up from sleep and you say, I'm just drinking some water and I'm going straight back to bed. Or I'm calling in sick and going straight back to bed. And as soon as you drink your water, or as soon as you call in sick, oh, I'm awake. Huh. Now what do I do? And it happens. Thank you for your comments. I see you there, Wangari. You're a tough girl if you've done door-to-door. Yes, yes, yes. And I got to tell you, it was 1997. We just landed in Canada 3 months before. It was our very first winter, and if it's your very first winter, it doesn't matter how cold it is. You're just freezing. It was in London, Ontario, and my job was door-to-door sales, 100% commission. Yep. I had an accent. I had freezing legs and toes and fingers. I barely knew London, but I went out there. I had pens that were frozen. So I had these great, amazing conversations, people who said yes, and then I couldn't get them to sign. I couldn't get them to sign the contracts. And you know how many people said, you know what, forget it. This is taking too long. Yep. Others here, Paris, wrong group of people, target market. Yes, very much in keeping with business. You got to know that target market. But more importantly, we got to know the difference between who we're going for and who we should be going for. And who we should be going for will come from that much larger network of going out and meeting people, not being shy about just making those connections and showing up. You don't have to show up as the expert. You don't have to show up as the person, the go-to person. Just show up. Show up. Look for things that you have in common with others and just show up. And from there, magic will happen. So how do you get more clients in 2018? Number one, know your numbers, man. Number two, we have mindset things that we need to work on. And some of the best ways to work on this is, in addition to doing the deep stuff to really unearth those underlying beliefs, is to just really get into motion, action, 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 and surround yourself by people who are action oriented. I am so fortunate that I am constantly surrounded by people who do things. Not to say we don't rest, by the way, we do a lot, but they're constantly in motion. They're constantly in motion. And so sometimes I'll look to my side and I'll say, all right, I can do this, and I'll go on my way. If you're ready and you think that you need some of that accountability, that step-by-step plan, and you want to be part of that community of action-oriented people. Not people who say, go, 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 but people who are just really just concerned with reaching their own ideals and doing their own thing, their own pace, their own time, but the point is we're moving, right? That's always going to be the point, that we're moving forward. It doesn't matter what life throws at you. It doesn't matter what you have to go through. It doesn't matter what you have to overcome. The point is keep moving. If that is you and you're ready for this, there's a calendar link at the top there where it says, how do I get more clients in 2018? If you'd like to hear and you want to talk about your changing your life and business, schedule a call. Schedule a call. Let's talk. Let's see what your plans are. Let's see what you need to get there. And then let's make that amazing plan. Let's get that plan in action. Have you surrounded by the right people, people who get it, but people who are also moving forward. Not get it and sit down and just complain. I mean, get it, like get it. And they're like, I hear you, let's go. Like you want those people to go. 2018 has not seen the last or the best of you yet. There is so much more to come. And I just want you to really understand that. It's just be conscious, make your choice, action, action, action. Know your numbers, have your numbers ready. And let's keep it moving, guys. Let's keep it moving. No matter what happens this year, no matter what happened last year or the years before, whatever, that's done. We're here. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. I'm Julia Katsivo, and have an incredible rest of your evening, or if you're in Kenya, morning, in the US, enjoy yourselves in the afternoon, and we will see you soon.